Following the 7 Years' War, which ended in 1763, England faced the issue of recuperating its debt, fighting a war on multiple continents. One of the ways it looked to do this was passing a series of legislation and enforcing other legislations that had been on the book since the 1600s. These new legislations and old ultimately led colonists here to question, what does it mean to be English, and what rights as Englishmen do we have? One of these groups that examined these rights of Englishmen called themselves the Newport Junto. Made up of wealthy Newport merchants, they felt that the Rhode Island Charter, granted in 1663, was far too liberal and granted them too many rights.
The group that would oppose the Newport Junto would be an emerging chapter of the Sons of Liberty here in Newport, led by individuals such as Samuel Vernon and future signer of the Declaration of Independence, William Ellery. They felt that these new laws and taxations, such as the Sugar Act of 1764 and the Stamp Act of 1765, would encroach upon the rights of merchants here in Newport, stunting their growth economically and deterring any trade that had been established along the west coast of Africa and, more importantly, the Caribbean.
The junto had no problems with the Sugar Act itself. They believed Parliament had the right to tax the colonies. Instead, the junto felt that the Sons of Liberty were focused far too much on rum and the Atlantic slave trade. The junto felt that Rhode Islanders should turn their attention instead to growing hemp, which could turn into rope and other fabrics. Great Britain would offer a higher bounty for that than molasses.
Nevertheless, with these new acts, such as the Sugar Act and the Stamp Act of 1765, the reinforcement of customs collections are only going to be resolved and strengthened by a new set of customs collectors, such as John Robinson here in Newport. Things will ultimately come to a head in August of 1765, with the approaching deadline of the Stamp Act going into effect that November. Throughout the 27th, 28th, and 29th of August, riots will erupt. The riots will begin peacefully on August 27th with a display of effigies of some of the local junto merchants and individuals. Those effigies will be burned by the end of the day. This will be led by the Sons of Liberty and at the time controlled. However, that control will dissolve after a scuffle the following evening with junto members and some of the local lower sorts. This will devolve completely into a full-on riot with members of the mob attacking several different houses, including Martin Howard Jr.'s, ransacking it and destroying it over the course of 3 attacks. Eventually, this itself will dissolve and peace will return to Newport. But these are again beginning embers that will eventually lead to the conflagration of the American Revolution.
While not the first act of destruction of property or threatening of government officials in the colonies, it certainly wasn't the last. Over the course of the coming years, England would pass multiple other pieces of legislation, like the Townshend Acts, for example, which would try and further recover that debt lost in the 7 Years' War. These acts and the debate surrounding it would continue to force this discussion in the colonies of what rights do the colonies have, and are we still truly English? The answer not given until 1776, when separation was finally